Hi guys, welcome to Thunder Mesa Studio, Wednesday night live stream. Thank you for making the choo-choo noises, Jim. It's nice to see you here. Here, let me pull out of the station here. Head on around the layout. I thought we'd start off with a little train action, since this is a model railroad channel after all. How you guys all doing tonight? Lindley, good to see ya. A lot of the usual suspects I see. So glad you guys could make it tonight on this lovely Wednesday evening. At least it's lovely here in Jerome. Hi, Joshua. Thank you for becoming a Rail Pass member. Pardon me, I'm playing with trains right now. You understand. We take this, we'll do a little walkabout. What do you think? That's always a nice way to start. I'll turn this around. Lovely in Ventura. That's good. We're having, once again, a lovely, mild, late spring. Actually, today's the first day of summer, isn't it? Isn't that right? 21st? It's the solstice. So far, still a very mild season here in Arizona. Like, it's only in the 90s here, which is really unseasonably cool. I know 90 doesn't sound cool, but it's usually we get triple digits by June, so it's kind of unusual. Once again, I start off talking about the weather. Running number 8 tonight. The R.H. Gurr, or Bob to the cruise, named in honor of legendary Disney Imagineer Bob Gurr. And that's a Bachmann Stearns Heisler that I painted and modified. Glad you could make it, man. Greetings, Thad in Philadelphia. How you guys doing? SoCal, not even close to 90 yet. That's what I've heard. Got some serious June gloom action going on. Boy, I remember that from when I was a kid living there. The June glooms. It's where the marine layer comes in and it's like foggy. Everyone expects it to be sunny and beautiful in Southern California in the in the summertime, but it can be gray and gloomy. There's those balancing rocks. Just walking around here. I don't often show the back side of the layout, so I think we'll come around here and I'll show you. There's the tool bench over here. This is the staging yard. Staging yard, backstage, fiddle yard, whatever you want to call it. Mike, you had to do a restart to get things going? That happens sometimes. YouTube is an odd piece of software. Yes, this is you've heard of the backside of the water. This is the world famous backside of Backdrop. Look at this, very much up to code electrical wiring there. Yeah, it's a 101-year-old building. What do you want? This is right. This is the behind the scenes. A good friend who was a Disney Imagineer for 20 years, and he keeps telling me that I should paint everything back here go away green. That kind of mint green they have on all the hey Ron, good to see you, man. On all the backstage buildings at Disneyland. I think he thinks that would be hilarious to paint everything go away green back here. So yeah, I'll do that, and then I got to have some conduit coming down and a couple of Disney princesses back here smoking cigarettes on their break. Mickey Mouse with his head off. So this is Backstage, Thunder Mesa. My bulletin board up here, where I keep some very important data on my ON30 porters. Here's an important thing right here. take a screenshot of that if you want to know how to install a TCS Keep Alive in a Bachmann equipped sound equipped porter. Anyway, there's a behind the scenes tour. That tunnel right there leads into Rainbow Ridge. And yes, I do have some HO equipment back here. Those are all donors. I was given a huge box of old HO stuff by a friend of the show. Said, here, I don't model in HO anymore. I don't know what to do with this. Can you take it? And I'm like, yeah, you know, it's all raw materials for me. I'll do something with it. Thank you. So slowly but surely, I'm cannibalizing all that stuff for parts. Here's the Bandit Canyon Railway. Just got the Bandit Canyon running today, and the big Thunder Mesa layout. Not running Gruesome Gulch tonight because I'm lazy and I didn't feel like cleaning the track. At least I'm honest about it, right? There's a building missing over here in Calico, a mock-up actually, because that is the next project. I'm working on a structure for the Amazon box cave. Exactly, Norman. Keeps the light from coming through. It's just all I needed was something dark, you see? That's the Amazon box cavern right there. Keeps the light from shining through. Yeah, that's going to be Cordelia's Cafe, home of the world's best fried chicken and berry pies. Here's an interesting, I don't know, maybe it's an interesting story. You be the judge. I'll report, you decide. That thing on the porch of Lane's General Store there, that mock-up, is a coffee grinder from Berkshire Valley Models. And that was given to me by Jake Johnson, former Imagineer, Disney Imagineer Jake Johnson. And if you don't know Jake, he's the guy that was responsible for leading the team on the Big Thunder model that's at the Disneyland Hotel. And if you haven't seen it, it's really worth checking out if you're going to be at the Disneyland Hotel. Anyway, he bought a ton of parts for that model. And that is actually one of the parts, that coffee grinder. He gave it to me because he said it was too big. It didn't fit. And so it's actually a detail that's supposed to go on the front porch of the general store over here, which I just finished. But it's actually too big for my general store too. So yes, fresh coffee at the next open house, George. Anyway, that's how that happened. So I've got that there. I'll do something with it, but that's a fun little thing. That's actually a detail that was bought for the Big Thunder model at Disney. I almost said Walt Disney World, Disneyland Hotel. Didn't fit there on their model. Doesn't fit on my model, but I'll find something to do with it. Say anything new to report over here? Not really. Nothing much new. Let's see if I don't want to give you guys whiplash. See if Old Faithful wants to work tonight. There it goes. Old Unfaithful, I should say. Michael asked, ideas on car swapping with the other ON30 railroads. You know, there was a thing, there was kind of a round robin thing that went a bit round in the old days. I think John Allen was a part of this. Let me turn this around and get parked here. Yeah, where they did a car swap. A lot of people have done it. I'll bring you in for a landing right there. Oh, bring this up. There we go. How are you guys doing? That's a great idea. I would love to do that. Or you have a car. There was a car that would like travel around to different layouts and be photographed on different layouts. I would love to have. I should get with Gary Beatty on this. I would love to have a Porto Borracho car. I would love to have a Typhoon Lagoon car running on the layout. Several others that I can think of that would be a lot of fun. And I, trade a Thunder Mesa car for that. I am totally down for that. Gary, Bob, others, if you're watching, let's do it. Be a lot of fun, I think. Uh-oh, I'm getting a red light on my gimbal because I forgot to charge it once again. So we're gonna have to do a switcheroo here in a second. You guys hear me okay? Does it sound good? As I fiddle with my equipment. I really need this smaller. No, I'm not gonna go hunt for the other tripod right now. It's a rule that the gimbal only dies during live streams. Is that gonna work? That's way too tall. Oh, I know what I'll do. You guys get to see me solving problems in real time. How exciting for you. Hold on. I gotta get it before it goes limp. Here. There we go. Put this on here. And then we will, well, I can't just hold it. Ta-da! I'm actually balancing the camera on top of a green Bachmann Spectrum box. I'll show you the setup before we're done. It's, you know, I MacGyvered it. There we go. Put this dead thing away. Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. Let me catch up on comments, questions. I thought I saw a couple of questions go by. Look down here on the old iPad so I can see them. Have you thought about collaborating with those guys to make several cars together swap? Yeah, that's what we were just talking about, Lauren. I would love to do that. That was something that I wanted to talk about at the get-together at Gary's that didn't happen. So if it does happen, it'd be fun to all be in one room and talk about that. And even some of these guys that don't have ON30 layouts, you know, they've still got, they might want to build a car or something. That would be fun. Sorry. Now I'm adjusting the lighting. It's always something. Whoa. Kevin Spady, did you paint your backdrop? Yes, I did paint the backdrop. There, that's better. Is that better? And I painted the backdrop. I moved the layout. The layout was started, let me back up. I started the layout 12 years ago at my home when I lived in Camp Verde, Arizona, and we had a little 16 by 16 foot outbuilding out there, and I built it in there, and it didn't have a backdrop. And I always regretted not painting the backdrop or building a backdrop or having a backdrop before I started the layout. And it's a long story. It's basically because the layout was originally being built for a different location. It was going to be a small portable layout, kind of like the Gruesome Gulch. It was 3 by 6, right? But I decided to keep it, and anyway, long story short, I moved it up here to the studio, and I had a good 30 days to move it, which was great because, you know, I moved it basically from one side of the Verde Valley to the other, and that gave me time to come in here and prep the whole space and paint the backdrop and everything. There's not a video of me painting the big backdrop here, but there is a video of me doing the one for Calico Mountain. It's in the Calico Mountain playlist right down there. Don't watch it right now. Keep watching the live stream. But later, if you're looking for something to do, you can watch that one. And that shows how I painted. And I even give a little tutorial on how I paint clouds in that. So you can see how I do the Pixar clouds, the Andy's Room clouds, as I call them. You remember the Tiny Thunder Mesa? Yes. Tweetsy Railroad 13 asks, speaking of Gruesome Gulch, Dave, was the remodel of Gruesome Gulch engine #1 scrapped? No, all of those projects are still going to happen. I just stretched out the timeline because I was given the luxury of time. And one thing you never want to give to a commercial artist is you never want to say, take all the time you need, because they will. Uh, because after the event was canceled, postponed, that I was building it for, I had all this time. So I'm taking a break from Gruesome Gulch, but I'm going to get back into it soon. Man, it's almost July already. So probably mid-July, early August. There will be more episodes of Gruesome Gulch coming, and because it's a great project. I know a lot of people enjoy following it, and I'm having a blast doing it. And yes, engine number 1 and engine number 2, there are 2 porters now on the Gruesome Gulch. Both of those are going to get the treatment. So yeah, that's definitely going to happen. Mini Thunder Mesa was pretty cool. Thanks. I thought so too. That's why I started on the Bandit Canyon Railway. I think because I missed Mini Thunder Mesa, and like, well, it'd be cool to have a little portable deal like that again. This one's even more portable. Halfway to Halloween, yes. Halfway to Halloween, yeah, that's a thing they do at Disney now. They're going to start doing halfway to Christmas next. Let's see if I missed anything. Thunderstorms going off in the background. This light is bugging me. I hope you don't mind if I try it. It's also wreaking havoc with the autofocus on my camera. There, that's better. Stand by. Let's see. Oh, Lakota asks, any idea how small a radius you could get an ON30 engine to go around? Just wondering, like a 440. I can answer that question. 15 inches. I have 2 440s. I have an inside. Actually, I have 4. 2 of them run on the layout. The other 2 are works in progress. And the light is still bothering me. Sorry. You can get. They will run on a 15-inch radius track, a curve. That's the smallest radius I have on the Thunder Mesa layout, and that's at Geyser Gulch right there, which I just showed you. That's the tightest radius, and I can run both the inside frame and an outside frame Bachmann 440 on there. What you have to watch out for is overhang from the pilot, especially on the outside frame 440, and coupler swing. It's not that the engine won't negotiate the curves, it's that the coupler is way out here, and then you've got a car here, and so it will cause the car behind it to derail. That's the problem. So yeah, you can run those engines around a 15-inch radius. You just got to watch out for things like the size of the pilot and coupler swings, which are all adjustable. Right? Right. Kevin, I do need a Pudding River Lumber Company car. And I'm going to need a Wandering Spruce car too, you know. Tell Sean out there if he's watching. Ray! You like the holiday overlay, Ray? This is our 4th of July decor. You know, we came in right after closing, got everybody out, you know, did a full sweep of the park, got everybody out, and then the third shift came in and we decorated for 4th of July. We did the whole thing in one night. Came in and put up that banner. My next open studio is going to be on July 1st, so 4th of July weekend. So I put the 4th of July. We change, we do change with the seasons. I have Christmas bunting that I put up during the holidays. We've got Halloween decorations for spooky season, and we got the American flag bunting for summertime. So glad you could make it, Ray. Nice to see you. Josh, hello there in SoCal. Nice to see you guys. So glad you guys could spend your Wednesday evening with me. I don't really have a hi Casca. I don't really have a topic for tonight. The topic tonight is model railroading. So usually I have a topic for these things, you know. Last month it was track maintenance and cleaning, but so this is just kind of a Q&A, you know, ask me anything you want to know, and if it's within my powers to answer the question, I will. Hello there in Overguard, Ron. Joshua Brown, hey man, loved your plan for the Peter Pan layout. Is that another project you want to work on? Yeah, the problem is I need to clone myself. I don't have the time or the space to work on the Peter Pan. Let me show you something cool. I'm glad you brought that up. Hang on, I'll be right back. Don't go away. There's going to be a minute of dead air. I know YouTube hates that, but just hold on. I'll be right back. Watch the trains while I'm gone. I'm back. So this is a little planning model I built. This is how far this project got for the Skull Rock and Neverland. It's not 3D because basically I was trying to work out with this how the construction would go, how it would go together. I wanted to have an integrated roof on it and an integrated backdrop. So the lighting package will all be hidden up inside of the roof here. And like this rainbow would be projected on the backdrop using some projection, some 3D projection, clouds drifting by and all that kind of stuff. That's what that represents. And it would look very much, the backdrop would look very much like, you know, Neverland from the animated feature. So that's, I like to make these little planning models. It had a stand at one time, but the stand got destroyed somehow, and one of the many times this has been moved from one place to the other to make room for other things. Anyway, yeah, by the way, if you're looking for that plan, I put it up on Facebook. It's also on my website. If you go to thundermesa.studio and click on the Model Railroads tab, a little drop down, you'll see track plans. Click on that, and you will find it there. Also, a good place to look for the most often asked about where to get certain supplies, things for laser cutting, design software, detail parts, figures, you know, hard to find stuff like that. Well, it's not that hard to find, but you could. There's a tab called Useful Links, and you can see where all my favorite stuff. I should call it favorite things. Be like Oprah. These are all my favorite things, and you could find them on there. But that's worth checking out. Jason Lay asks, what is your preferred method for throwing switches? Manual, motorized? What types does it depend on? And location? Location accessibility is very important. Fortunately, I always keep turnouts close to the edge of the lab as much as possible on the aisles where they're easy to reach, and don't put a lot of scenery in the way. One of the reasons there's no telegraph poles, somebody asked me about it, how come there's no telegraph poles? My answer then was, there's no telegraph poles at Disneyland, but you can hear the telegraph in the Frontierland station. Use your imagination for the rest, because you know they would be in the way. I prefer manual throws for my turnouts, and that's just because I want to feel like I'm running the train. I want to do all the little jobs. I like to reach down there and manually do it and flip the switch and see. It's just the tactile experience of doing that is, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say better because it's just a matter of opinion. It's more interesting to me than pushing a button. That's it. So I just like to flip the switch. And I prefer to use the caboose ground throws, and I use HO scale caboose ground throws. And the nice thing is, they almost look scale in O scale because they're way out of scale for HO scale. But in O scale, they almost look scale. So they work nicely. That's my preferred method. And yeah, I just don't like to put switches where they're hard to reach because that's usually a maintenance headache. Don't put switches in tunnels. Don't put switches way back. Because there's one I've got up here by the backdrop in Rainbow Ridge, and I'll tell you what, I have not switched it. It's a little siding. I park cars on there, and I don't work with it. It's because it's hard to reach. Good question. Very good question. Let's see. Welcome to Dead Air. John Clark, what brand and rail size do you use when you use FlexTrack? I started the Thunder Mesa layout with Pico ON30 FlexTrack and turnouts. And the micro engineering rail did not exist at that time when I first started the layout. At least I didn't think so. At least it wasn't widely available, or I can't exactly remember. I couldn't get it. Kind of like you can't get it now. But yeah, I used Pico ON30 because I was trying to, there's two reasons. The Thunder Mesa layout is based on, roughly, on Big Thunder Mountain and Old Nature's Wonderland. And Old Nature's Wonderland, the track didn't look narrow gauge. They didn't have the long ties sticking out. It looked like standard gauge track scaled down. And a Big Thunder Mountain, it's a roller coaster, but underneath the roller coaster tubing, the tubular track, they've got big chunky ties. And I thought, that Pico ON30 track does a pretty good job of looking like that. It's got these big chunky ties, and they're kind of, they're kind of weathered and broken down looking. So that'll be great, and it's worked great. And I've never regretted the choice. Pico ON30 track, by the way, is code 100, so it operates very well. The switches work very well out of the box. Some of them I add frog juicers to make them operate better. By the way, you don't have to do anything to the switch to add frog juicers. Some people say, oh, you got to cut it here. No, you don't. You don't have to do anything to a Pico switch, ON30 electrofrog switch, to add a frog juicer to it. All you do is solder a green wire to the frog. It doesn't have to be green. I use green. A wire to the frog, and that goes to the frog juicer, and the frog juicer is connected to your DCC power bus. And that's it. You just have to make sure it's gapped in the proper places, just like you would otherwise. But anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, Pico ON30 code 100, and I've never regretted it. For the Gruesome Gulch layout, I used micro engineering code 83 FlexTrack, and I haven't regretted that either. That's a great looking track. It operates really well. It looks great. It looks nice. I don't have any turnouts on the Gruesome Gulch layout, so I can't really speak to those. But yeah, it's been pretty bomb-proof. The thing I liked about the micro engineering track is because the curves are so tight on Gruesome Gulch, you bend it down to the radius, and it holds the shape. Like if you bend it down to 10-inch radius, it holds that 10-inch radius shape. It doesn't like spring back like some FlexTrack does, which is really handy when you're laying really tight radius curves. Let's see. Tim Clock, do your layouts tend to be any particular season or time of year? Modeling different seasons could be fun. Yes. The Thunder Mesa layout has the same philosophy as Disneyland. It's always spring. There are always flowers blooming. It's always spring in Thunder Mesa. That's why there's the cactus are blooming. There's wildflowers everywhere. It's just a lot more. If you're going to model the desert, you got. If it's not spring, if I was modeling August or late July, wouldn't be nearly as interesting to look at. So yeah, spring. It's always springtime in Thunder Mesa. I've seen people have different sections of their layout be at different times of the year, and that's a great thing to do. Like the trains will go through a high mountain pass where it's all snowy, it's winter time, then it'll come out, it'll be spring. So that's a neat idea to do. In Gruesome Gulch, I'm not sure what time of year it is there. It's Halloween. Of course it is. It's always fall in Gruesome Gulch. It's always October, all the time. So, yeah, that's why. Oh, let me back up. Digital background idea. Who said that? George, do you actually sleep at night or just dream up projects? That brings up an interesting thing. And that is that I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit. And that's burnout. If you're just, going full speed all the time, boom, 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 I was doing a project a week, you can get burnt out. And not just doing what I do on my channel, but any kind of YouTube channel, it's really easy to, it's something you have to guard against, is burning yourself out. So you got to know the warning signs and take a break every once in a while. Which is what I try to do. I still try to do a video every week, but every once in a while I was like, if I glue one more thing together, I'm gonna scream. So yeah, it's you gotta take a break. When it stops being fun, when it starts to feel like work, when it starts to feel like a job, when it's like, I gotta go up and build models today. That's a warning sign that it's time to tap the brakes, take a little break, go for a hike, go for a bike ride, go, do something else, do something outside, something, So it's all about a healthy balance. I don't know how I got on that topic, but George asked it. It was a leading question, George. That's how I got to that. Let's see. What is the next big project? The next big project is I'm adding a slight extension. I've been talking about this for a while now, to the front of the Thunder Mesa layout, which is going to bring the rock scenery down. So basically the fascia that you see there, where the flag is, down below it, that's going to disappear. It's all going to be rock work down there. And there's a couple of bridges on the creek. The creek's going to follow another waterfall. The waterfall will come down. You see where that black circle is? That's the speaker. If you hear the bird sounds in the background and the waterfall, that's where it's coming out of, is that speaker. I would like to hide that speaker a little better because all the other speakers on the layout are hidden. That one is just like really obvious. And have a waterfall coming down in front of it. So you won't see it, but it'll be hidden back there. And then there'll be a Ford down below, and there'll be a stagecoach, which I already have. I picked up a wonderful mud wagon. It's called a mud wagon style of stagecoach from Kevin Macomber at Narrow Gauge Modeling Company. I highly recommend them, by the way. Hard to find stuff. Narrow Gauge Modeling Company. Great to work with. So there's going to be a stagecoach down there, and it's going to be being robbed. So there'll be a ford instead of a bridge, like a low water crossing. The stagecoach will be stopped in the water, and there'll be bandits holding up the stagecoach. That's part one of that plan. Part two of that plan is moving the gallows, which is over there, And with the new extension, that's where Phantom Manor is going to go. Originally, it was going to, I've told some of you this, so pardon me for repeating myself, and I know not everybody's heard it. Phantom Manor was going to be going back where the turntable area is for the layout. I decided to keep the engine service area there and put Phantom Manor, Ravenswood Manor, up at the front of the layout. So those are a couple of big projects. That will take several weeks. I also have several rolling motive power locomotive projects. Some have been simmering on the back burner for a long time. Some have been working on little by little and filming a little bit. There's one I started back in, November of last year. I'll do a little bit more and film a little bit of it. Usually when you see a project video, it's like, I just did it. You know, I did it that week and you're seeing it the following week. I did it the week before and you're seeing it the following week. That's the way it usually works. Sometimes though, with stuff that takes longer, I'll do a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. And, you know, through the magic of editing, it looks like it was all done just like that. But yeah, so some I'm working on over periods of time, and some are quick and dirty. Hi, Justin. Brad Martin, you should try. Are you talking to me? I should try the Noox. I have tried the Noox. I have a can of earwax right here. I have used it. I use it all the time. Let's see. Let's see. Steve, right? How do you pronounce your last name? If I murder your last name, I apologize. Steve Reitler? Did I get it right? What do I get a cookie if I get it right? Steve Reitler. What couplers do you use? I like Microtrains. Are they Microtrains? Katie, Microtrains. I know they're two different companies now. Microtrains is the N scale, right? Katie, number 5s, and I think with it number 52s. Those are the metal whisker couplers. Those are my favorite ones. And but I have kind of a mongrel assortment right now. But those are my favorites. Tweetsy wrote, how would you go about doing a horror movie layout? Sorry. Now I know Gruesome Gulch is not really a horror movie layout. Are you talking something like classic Universal horror? Because that would be that's the only kind of one I would be interested in, with like Dracula's Castle, and you know Frankenstein's monster, and the Mummy, and Wolfman, and all that kind of stuff. That's how I would do that. It's an interesting idea, but I kind of feel like I've covered a lot of that territory already with Gruesome Gulch, so I don't know. I'd have to think about that. Norman, the dangerous slight extension that eventually takes over the whole room. Yeah, it started as 3x6. Roy Reynolds Dave at Angles Coat Shop on YouTube is finishing up rebuilding a mud wagon, 1/1 scale, right? Yeah, that's worth checking out. So you can get the rigging right and everything on the model. Thanks for the tip. I will check that out. 1950s horror movie. Sammy, the blob that ate my layout. Yeah. Is it 148, Mike? With the is that Mike? Yeah, with the whiskers. Yeah, Katie 140 is. Thank you. That's the proper number. Why did I think it was 52? I don't know. Daniel, nice that you join us. I'm glad you're listening and not watching while you're driving. Watching while you're driving would be dangerous. Be careful out there. A Godzilla layout. with a bullet train, because it would have to be Tokyo, right? Oh no, there goes Tokyo. Oh, Godzilla. Remember that song? Sorry, I'm dating myself now. I won't sing again, I promise. Uh, yeah, Helm Street or Dracula. The little village below Dracula's castle. You know, and you can get all those buildings from Faller. At least if you're going to do it in HO scale, they've got all those German buildings, the German village buildings. You know, the half timber buildings and the castle and all that. You know, they got the castle. They got all that stuff. So it would. I guess I would do it in HO scale since all that stuff is available in that scale. I had an idea for layout. I don't know if I talked about this on the live stream. I did. I don't know if it was this one. For a kind of a Jurassic World themed layout, which would be tropical island with a volcano and animated dinosaurs, and the train ride goes through dinosaur land, basically, like Jurassic Park. That'd be fun. I had an idea a long time ago, and I talked about this on one of the podcasts last year before. It was a Batman themed layout, Gotham City, but it would always be nighttime. And, you know, all the tall buildings, really gothic, you know, that kind of the Tim Burton Batman. Very gothic looking Gotham City, which it shouldn't look like Toronto. You know, it should be very, or Vancouver, where they usually film these things. Sorry, Canadians. I do know the difference between Toronto and Vancouver. It would, you know, be very gothic and dark, and the bat signal projected up on the backdrop, and Batman driving around the street, and the train, and the elevated train, and all that. It'd be pretty cool. But I'd have to do it in N scale for it to work. Blue Oyster Cult. There's a lot of fun stuff going on right now in different scales. I think ON30, to get a little philosophical, really opened that up. I think people taking chances. When I was coming up in the hobby early on in the 1970s and into the 80s, things had gotten very buttoned down, if you know what I mean. And they still are in some places, which is like it's prototype modeling, we're doing modern diesels, we're doing, you know, here's a 28-part article on realistically modeling the Skippy dog food factory from such and such Wisconsin. No shade to Wisconsin. It's just most of the things were always concentrated in the Midwest or back east. And it was like, I think it's about the time Model Railroader took model railroading as fun off of the masthead of the magazine. That was about the time I started to rebel. Like, no, it should be fun. We should be having fun with this. We should be telling interesting stories. You should be taking chances, doing genre. Genre modeling is become a big thing, and a lot of people paint genre miniatures for tabletop gaming and stuff like that. And I'm seeing a lot of crossover now between that kind of genre modeling, science fiction, fantasy, D&D, with model trains, which I think is super cool, and with military modeling and stuff too. There was somebody I was following on Instagram, I forget the name of the modeler. He did a really cool 2-part diorama where he had, maybe some of you guys have seen this. This is not train related, it was just some really neat modeling. Military modeling, but in genre fiction. He's got a German tank going through like the portal from, what was that show? Old brain. So he cut the tank in half. They cut the tank model in half and had it going through this glowing portal. Stargate, thank you. I used to love that show. Through the Stargate portal, and then coming out in a second diorama, the front of the tank coming out the other side in like an American small, like a farm scene. So like the Germans found this portal and they're attacking through, and I was like, that's brilliant. I thought that was great. I'd like to see stuff like that done with trains. You know, that kind of crossover genre modeling done with trains would be really cool. Joshua Brand, good. Your modeling is fun. I love your passion. Thank you. And I wish more people had it. You're what inspired me to get back into model railway. Thank you so much. I love hearing that. Thank you. That's what makes it worthwhile, is when people say things like that. It makes me feel good. Thank you. I'm glad you got back into modeling. You have to give yourself permission to do the, this is a family channel, but I'm going to say it, wild ass idea. You got a wild ass idea. And you're like, I don't know, man. I mean, the guys down at the hobby shop, the guys at the club might think this is a little weird. It's not, you know, I'm not modeling the Penzi or the Santa Fe or the Rio Grande Southern. I've got this crazy idea. You have to give yourself permission to do it, because, you know, we're all just playing with toys at the end of the day. So play with the toys that are the most fun to you. That's my advice. Let's see. Did a Casey Jr. train with a full 3-wing circus. Oh, you know, when you went to Vietnam, they gave it to the New York Museum and they put it up over Christmas. That's cool. Kevin Spady, you want to do a apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic dystopian layout because weathering is your jam. You and Jamie Powell. He's doing this wild harbor scene, industrial. It's like, this is, I mean, the man's imagination is amazing, and weathering is amazing. Jason Lay, what are your favorite uses of forced perspective on my railroad? Have you tried second story, a different scale than the first? Yeah, I haven't really done that. Here's the thing about that kind of forced perspective, and I wrote an article on this for the old Model Railroad Hobbyist, it's an online magazine. That kind of forced perspective doesn't really work when you're looking directly at or down on a model. That kind of Disneyland style forced perspective where the second story is smaller than the bottom story only works in human scale when you're walking down the street and looking up at it. See, it's all about perspective, right? What is your perspective? What is the human perspective looking at the thing? And that's something you always have to keep in mind when building models, because, okay, we're creating this little miniature world, but it's built to be looked at, to be enjoyed by 1/1 scale humans. So if you're looking down or near eye level at a model and the second story is a smaller scale than the lower story, it's going to look funky. It's going to look squished. I mean, maybe if you put it way up high, it might work. But so what I do is I tend to put smaller buildings up high, and you know, like the mine up here. You can see that, the Nevermind. That's probably one of my favorite uses of forced perspective on the layout, if you want to call it that. I actually do what's I've called reverse forced perspective. It's still forced perspective, but it's, instead of making things shorter, make them a little taller. So when you're looking down on them, it actually gives them a lot of charm and character. Make them like an extra, like a throw in another 6 inches or 12 or a foot. Make them just a little bit taller. And it's just, you know, you develop an eye for that thing. Oh, someone's spamming us. Hi. No, you go away now. Ah. You have to reverse it and make the, that would look funny too. This is the same thing as remembering the perspective of the viewer, of the operator, or whatever, the human. A lot of people have said, oh, you should do more POV videos with the train, ride-through videos. They said, like on Gruesome Gulch, you should do one there. Yeah, but there, I did one for Thunder Mesa that's heavily edited because there's just some places where the view from the train is just not that great. And the reason for that is it's not designed to be looked at by the plastic people on the train. It's designed to be looked at by you and me, standing in the aisle and looking at it. So doing a POV video doesn't always work because it's not designed to be looked at from that angle. It's interesting. I mean, it can be an interesting novelty, but it's not showing the work in its best light, I guess. It's not showing it the way it's designed to be looked at. John Rose, Malcolm Furlow took a lot of heat for being creative in the Pages of Model Railroad. His work was really cool. Yeah, I have to agree. And when he stopped publishing in Model Railroader, it's about the time I stopped reading. No, I kept reading it after that. But dude, stop spamming. Stop. I'm gonna block you. You're going to be blocked. And bye. You go now. Don't come on here and spam, man. That ain't cool. Nobody wants to see that. Oh, then YouTube crashed because I was blocking him so fast. Let's go back. Let's see if I can get this to reload. Well, we're almost out of time. Okay. You didn't see it? Well, good. I think Jim was on it and I was on it. We were both on it at the same time. We got rid of the guy. It doesn't happen very often on here. Thank goodness, because I always say the people that watch my channel are the best of the best. You guys are the best. And I thank you for watching this member-supported Model Railroad channel. I really, really appreciate it. And just by watching, you support the channel. Especially if you don't have an ad blocker. I know that's a lot to ask. I have an ad blocker. Come on. Just by watching the videos and the people who have become members and Patreon and YouTube and people that buy merch and stuff like that, thank you from the bottom of my heart for making it possible for me to do this all the time. It's a dream come true. It really is. Whoa. I promised I'd show you my Mickey Mouse setup. No shade to Mickey, of how I have the camera balanced before I'm done here. Let's see. Ron Paulden. That's a good point, Ron. Model Railroaders basically invented nerd culture. That's right. We were nerds before it was cool to be nerds. See the history of the MIT Model Railroad Club? Yeah. We could all be more nerdly. Michael Ryder asked, have you seen, not in person, and what do I think of Jason Jensen's layout? Love Jason. I watch his videos. I learn things from Jason watching his videos. And I think that goes both ways. I love his layout. It's a mythical, somewhere in the Northeast port town. And I always comment when I talk to him. We do talk. We text and phone and stuff like that. And that it's weird that he's in Colorado, home of the greatest narrow gauge, arguably narrow gauge in the world, and he's modeling the Northeast, Northeast seaboard. But I love it. I love it. Yeah, and he's also a master of weathering. He's very, very good. He's a great artist, comic book artist. You know that, right? Let's see. Norman Rowe, I saw a layout that was G-scale, O, H, O, N, and Z going from front to back, all using a reasonably similar train in each scale to force the perspective. It looked like they were getting further. Yeah, I've seen that done too. Jim was talking about doing something like that. You have identical trains in multiple scales, and each one is further away. And so the train in G scale, it goes into a tunnel, and then it comes out in O scale, and it goes around, it goes into a tunnel in HO, and blah, blah, blah. So it looks like it's getting further and further away. That's a neat idea. I think it would take up a lot of the real estate that I would want to use for just, building models on. But that's just me. Let's see. Steve Riley, thank you for your videos, yeah. Thank you for watching. I appreciate that. Jason Lay, you seem to have an endless supply of brown lids for glue and paint. Those brown lids come from the Talenti ice cream containers, which this gelato, this is the best ice cream. And I don't want you to think that, I've got like 16 of these jars up here, that I ate all this ice cream by myself or all at once. I really can't eat a lot of sugar or dairy because at my age, you can't do that no more. Kind of makes me sick. So, but I have a teenage son who's a bottomless pit. He's 6'4" and a beanpole and can eat whatever he wants. And so that's where those come from. The brown lids and the jars are all Talenti ice cream, which are just fantastic containers. And I always tell them, don't throw those away, save those. So I have a lot of them. That's where they come from. Let's see. Joshua Toro, I know that's funny because honestly I've been told it before, you're playing with children's toys, but remind them they're not just toys, these are nice machines and making realistic scenes. Yeah, I agree with you, but they are also toys. It is possible for them to be both toys and a historical item, it's just like military modelers. They're miniatures. Yeah, that's a whole big can of worms topic. To me, it's a storytelling medium. And it all comes down to the kind of story you want to tell. If you want to tell a really realistic story, full of, a journalistic story, this is how it was in the 1930s in this part of the country and this particular railroad. This is exactly how it was, exhaustively researched, like a Ken Burns documentary. That is 100% legitimate, and if that's the story you want to tell, if that's what interests you, if that's what motivates you to go to the workbench or the basement or wherever and do the thing, then that's what you should do. And if, like me, you grew up watching, Westerns and going to Disneyland, and that's what inspires you, and that's what gets you to go to the workbench, and that's the story you want to tell. You want to tell a made-up story, which is more about the mythology than the history. That's also 100% legitimate. But they're all still toys. And to play with toys is great. Adults need to play even more than children do. And I believe it was John Hench that said that, one of Walt's original Imagineers. somebody dismisses my hobby, I start muttering about how my prison counselor said it would be therapeutic. I'll have to remember that. You guys have been great tonight. One more thing, let me say, anything more before I go? It's been a great evening. I really appreciate you guys for watching and tuning in for these live streams and showing up for the videos again and again. And I'm going to keep them coming. I had a visit recently from Dale and Karen Engel from Toy Man Television. I don't know if you caught their coverage of the NMRA convention up in Flagstaff. They also visited some local layouts, including mine. And there will be an episode on the Thunder Mesa layout coming up on Toy Man Television soon. So we're doing a little crisscross, a little crossover, a little, collab kind of thing, like the YouTube kids say. So that'll be fun. I'll keep you posted on that. And until next time, keep moving forward. Have a great night, everybody. Adios for now.